Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is your daily dose of Pittsburgh Steelers. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 856 of the Two Dum Yinzers. Good morning. Glad to see everybody back. Glad to see the board already moving. I do want to say good morning to my man Tyrone. I do want to say good morning to Cody, for me, and for the Invisible Vanilla Thunder. Can't hear him or you can't see him. Also, I do want to say good morning to Richard as well. Tortilla, happy Friday, my man. The gang, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show, guys. Today's gonna be good. We gotta get ready for the Bears. I got a lot of things to talk about. We're gonna figure out what it's gonna take to beat the Bears, and we're gonna take a look at what this season might hold for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As I think our reason to be hopeful might have just gotten a little bit better within the past 24 hours. So we'll get into that and a lot more. Good morning to everybody. I'm glad to see everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 856. And I do want to say good morning or good afternoon, wherever you be. Gang, my man, what's up? Everybody, dude, check this out real quick before we get started. One of the biggest pet peeves, and tell me, this isn't just me coming up with something to talk about. Tell me this isn't one of the biggest pet peeves you have, and I'm going to guarantee every single one of you, Richard, Tortilla, Tyrone, everybody, the whole way down the list, Cody, Yinzer Joe. Yes, it is afternoon here, Yinzer Joe. Good afternoon to you, sir. But get this. What's the one thing that you want to, and you need to see on everything that you get as far as food items in your house, especially your refrigerator? That's right. The best buy date. Has anybody known that the best buy date is literally the hardest thing to find on any packaging anywhere on any item USA? I flipped a pack of cheese around for 9 or 10 spins yesterday trying to find the best buy date, the best use date. They literally put the shit under flaps. They put the shit in creases. They put it under other print. I've never literally, and it's all super small. And there's usually 50 other numbers and letters involved too. What the fuck does it got to be so difficult to find out when my food is good till? Everything else is fine. Shit, the cheese pasteurized. I know that. There's a big word right on there. Everything else on there. The one thing that every single person absolutely wants to know when they pull that cheese out of the refrigerator is if it's still good enough. Why? Why is that the most difficult thing to find on any food packaging ever? Ever. Now, just a question of the day. Good morning, and everybody, welcome back. We got a lot of things to get into. What if I told you that we have a better chance to maybe make a deep playoff run than we thought we did? What if I told you that we might make a better deep playoff run because of destiny? What if I told you that we're going to get into all this and so much more because the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Chicago Bears this week? And just throw it out there, the last two out of the three Super Bowls. Good morning to Lindsay as well. Good morning to Tortilla, Mark Malone, everybody. What's up, guys? So there's been 5 Super Bowls that ended with the number 0. Number 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers played in and they won. Number 20 was the Chicago Bears over the Patriots. Number 30 was the Steelers and the Cowboys in the 90s. Number 40 was the Steelers over the Seahawks. Number 50 was the Broncos in the Seahawks. Number 60 is this year, which means 3 out of the first 5 Super Bowls that ended number 0, the Pittsburgh Steelers did play in. And guess what, guys? We're knocking on the door one more time. Just 2 decades ago, 20 years, the Steelers win the Super Bowl over the Seahawks 21-10. Jerome Bettis rides off into the sunset. 30 years ago, Super Bowl 30. Wow. Super Bowl 30 years ago. Jeez, oh man. Steelers, of course, played the Bears this year. It was their turnaround point in the season. They started 3-4 in 1995. They start their second half of the season with a win over the Bears in overtime in Chicago to win the game. It was the turning point, going on to win 7 of their next 8 games. 20 years ago, what was the turning point? We needed to win the last 3 games to get into the playoffs. If I'm remembering right, it was Jerome Bettis running over Brian Urlacher. We've all seen this memorable highlight. And here we are again on a Super Bowl that ends with the number 0. And again, we're playing Chicago again, second half of the season. And again, a pretty damn important game. Before I move on, isn't it unbelievable that Jerome Bettis retired 20 years ago? 20 years ago, Jerome Bettis? Oh, shit. So those are just a few things to get me started. Let me continue. My main concern in this conference has always been this. Well, has recently been this. The Bills, the Chiefs, Baltimore for that matter. Baltimore's 5-5. The Chiefs are 5-5. And Buffalo lost to Houston last night in a pretty, the score was close. It was 23-19 on Thursday Night Football. Buffalo drops it to the Texans, but it might have been Josh Allen's worst game I've ever seen. So with this being said, there's nobody, I mean, we're going to get a big test next week. No, there's no 2 ways about it when we play Buffalo at home. But right now, guys, the AFC is wide open. The AFC is wide open. Kind of like a receiver in the middle of the field whenever Aaron Rodgers decides to check down. I mean, there's no guarantees that the Chiefs get into the playoffs at this point. The Chiefs are 5-5. They're either in second or third place in their division. Third place, I think. The Baltimore Ravens are 5-5 at 10 games. I mean, come on. If we get into the playoffs, the Ravens ain't. It's going to be one team out of this division, and that's it. So count those 2 teams out. And don't count them out, but just for the sake of conversation. And the Bills, they're not going to win their division more than likely. A couple games behind New England still, with the ways to go. But that means they're going on the road in the first round. And if they're not as good as they've been, maybe they just might get tripped up before they would have to play us. With that being said, we beat the Colts. We beat the Colts and the Patriots. They're two of the higher seeded teams. that's going to the playoffs more than likely, and Denver being the other division leader, who's, quite frankly, their offense stinks. And who's better at playing a game between two teams whose offense stinks and got a pretty decent defense? Don't get me wrong, they got a great defense out there. But these one-score, low-score games that Denver's really winning a lot of this year, that's right up our alley. So call me crazy, but in a season that's wide open, the way that this season is, if we hit our stride at the right time, if we maybe get it together, I mean, they have 17 games to get to the point where they're satisfied with their play in the playoffs. So it's not outside the box to think that this Pittsburgh Steelers team may make a run. Now, maybe, just maybe this. Maybe it's one of them destiny years. Maybe that's why everything is so weird. Maybe that's why the Colts stink and the Buffalo is not anywhere near as good as they could be, and Baltimore pretty much stinks. Can this be an Aaron Rodgers send off into the sunset Super Bowl? You know what? Everything is awfully clustered this year. It's like I said, as time goes on, and don't get me wrong, we're not setting the league on fire. However, all these examples I'm giving you are examples of how the rest of the league certainly isn't either. And I think that's just what we need in order to make a nice run in the playoffs. Say it was any other normal year. The Chiefs are at home, first round week off. Buffalo, home. Baltimore, one of their nice runs. It's nothing like that, guys. This is a perfect opportunity for the Steelers, which means right now this Chicago Bears game couldn't be any more important. And again, historically, this again is the game that we get every year when the Super Bowl ends with a 0. We play the Chicago Bears in the second half of the year. Those games were monumental. The one back in 95 was an overtime win, 33-31, I believe. And of course, the one like the picture next to me is Jerome Bettis running over Urlacher 20 years ago en route to the Super Bowl victory. So again, guys, giving them something, a little hope to hang on, because sometimes it can be difficult. And when we hyper focus on getting our asses beat by the Chargers, we got to remember there's a lot of other things at play as well. And nobody's, we're complaining about this in the loss. We're complaining about that in the loss. Guess what? So is Kansas City. They're losing a bunch of games and they're complaining. And so is Baltimore and they're complaining. And so is Buffalo for that matter. And they're complaining. So with that being said, guys, let's get into it. We got a lot of things to get into today. Again, after Buffalo shits the bed, I'm talking about a big heaping pile of hot steaming shit. Again, probably Josh Allen's worst game I've ever seen. They take the loss last night on Thursday Night Football, 23-19 against the Texans, who I'm not going to take anything away from. Texans look good. But again, at the end of the day, this is going to be the teams that we're up against, guys. The only kind of teams that are way out ahead, as the Chiefs or the Bills usually are, is the Patriots. And this, again, is not a team that we're scared of. We beat this team. So, again, guys, I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm going to feel a lot better if we win this game on Sunday, because then we could be 7-4 going into the Buffalo game. And again, let me ask you this before I get rolling here. Let's say we beat the Bears on Sunday, and let's say we beat the Bills next week, and we're sitting at 8-4 going into the first Baltimore game. You guys starting to feel any better about January? Again, my big hang up was the Buffalo and Detroit game. I said, once we get to that point, we're going to lose them as we always do in December, and it'll be done. And late in the season, a slide, blah, blah, blah. You heard it all. But here we are. Here we are. And again, yesterday makes you got to feel a little bit better about the Steelers' chances. Again, not because we did anything great, but because, again, everybody else in the AFC just does not look super, which leaves the door open for a Cinderella team, or maybe, a surprise team. So again, just my opinion on that matter. But it seems that this season, it feels different. It's weird. It's a goofy year. It's a strange year. Nonetheless, it's a different feel this year. So again, let's see if everything plays out for a reason. Let me get on the board early. I don't want to miss out on anybody today, as this is Steeler Friday. Getting ready to head into this big Week 12 matchup with the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon as we take on the 7-3 Chicago Bears. Guys, we are 3.5-point road dogs in this game, which is good with me. I like being the dog, man. As soon as any Pittsburgh team becomes a favorite, they automatically shit the bed. So I'm fine with being a road dog. We'll take it back against the wall, baby. We've done this before. We did it before when we weren't supposed to. We did it 20 years ago when we had the worst offensive line, I'm sorry, in the league. And we got it done. Nobody gave us a chance at the 6th seed. That's all I'm saying, guys. Glad to be back. Yes, Tyrone, glad to see you back, my friend. Hope everything is going well for you, sir. I hope you're ready for the big game. Tyrone, I'm sorry, Tortilla Gang, Ninja Joe. Yes, it is definitely afternoon. Mark Malone, the ingredient list. Tortilla, I went to Walmart and got some ground beef that was on sale and frozen. When I got home, it was a month past its expiration date. I get it's frozen and probably good, but still, yeah, no, that's kind of something. It's kind of something, human beings concern themselves with. The date on the thing says it's best by or, best used by. By all means. Good afternoon to Lindsay. Good afternoon, everybody. Tyrone says, I'm so ready for some Pittsburgh Steelers football, dude. Me too. Especially in these up and down years, because you don't know what you're getting next. So you kind of have this knot in your stomach all week, and you just want to get back at it. You want to win, Tortilla says all these franchise quarterbacks struggling and shit. That's what I'm saying, dude. Again, in January, let's just say this defense decides to click as we're wrapping up the regular season. And they play, as good as they did all year, which, again, I think they still have to get to that point. I don't even think they got to their best game yet. I'm just saying, man. Mark Malone, my man, what's up, brother? He says Washington pulls a Bettis and trucks a few dudes this weekend. Hopefully, yeah, maybe that's what happens. Maybe that'll be the poster of this year's season. It'll be Big Mount Washington just trucking guys. We could talk about this 20 years from now as it is our 7th Super Bowl victory season. Cody says this, Ryan, if you want to hear the most funniest shit that will make you laugh for hours, go to last night's episode of Talking Trash with the Steelers gang. Timestamp 5 hours, 3 minutes, and 50 seconds. I will check that out. I certainly will. Excuse me. Yinzer Joe says, did you guys know the Bears allowed the Bengals a total of 477 yards? They were losing, and Loveland caught a pass with time running out, runs through. That's what I mean. This is a beatable team. Caleb Johnson got one of the slowest deliveries in the releases in the game. The Bears' run defense is comparable to the Bengals' run defense. So again, if we play our game right, we play our cards right, and we put a nice game plan together, this can easily be. This could be a win, guys. It's a winnable game. It's no gimme, as no games in the NFL certainly aren't this year. But I think this is totally winnable. And again, albeit Allen is coming off probably one of his worst games ever, albeit he has 10 days to prepare for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But let's just say we win these next 2 games, and we're 8-4 going into the Baltimore game. I'm liking it a little bit better than I was just a couple weeks ago. Get back on the board, everybody. To finish Injured Joe's comment, he said runs through a few Bengals to the end zone in the win. Mark Malone says kind of like a lot lizard on a Friday night. That's right. Cody says, don't worry, Tyrone. JPJ knows who you are. Cody also says this motherfucker almost made me crash last night. I was laughing so hard. I cannot wait to hear this. What's up, John? Steeler Freak, my man. He says Bills and Ravens fans suffer because they think they have a Super Bowl caliber quarterback but can't get to the final. The Steeler fans shouldn't have the kind of lofty expectations right now. Richard, my man, what's up, bro? Always great seeing Richard on the terrible board. He says this. So you're saying the Steelers have a chance with that? Maybe. I've seen weirder shit happen. You watch sports long enough, you see the weirdest shit go down, and Tyrone said that shit had me and Jamal rolling. Cody, that made my week. See, Tortilla, JPJ be watching trash talk, talking trash with the Steeler gang. Phil the Steel, what's up, bro? He says, what up? What fans? Teflon Don sucks. And then he says he won't. He won't feel better if the Steelers are 8-4 going into the Raven game. Tortilla says, if we beat the Bears and Bills, I'm going to buy a Darius Slade jersey. All right. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that with you. But I think we could do it. Again, I think the Bills are going to come riding hot. But again, it's in Pittsburgh. Maybe, some things could happen still. John says this: the Ravens, KC, and Bills could be wild card. You're absolutely right. And again, Kansas City, I think they're in danger of missing the playoffs. I'm going to be completely honest with you. They're not in a spot now. The teams that are ahead of them, the Jacksonvilles and the Chargers, I mean, these teams keep winning. And then in the division, like I said, I think they're in third place, only ahead of the Raiders. Richard said, we win the next 3 games, I'll feel a whole lot better. Damn right, man. Could you imagine if we win these next 3 games? Sitting at 9-4? And also, guys, you got to figure, of the 4 games we lost, 3 of them were at night. We've only lost 1 afternoon game. It was to the Seahawks. Cody says, bro, I watched 5 or 6 times in a row. Couldn't laugh harder. Lindsay said, tortilla. I won't. Mark Malone, it's going to happen. I agree. I'm feeling good. Again, I'm feeling better today than I was. Buffalo's more beatable than they have been over the past 5 years or so. But my concern is this: we never really match up well with Buffalo. We just don't match up well with them. And I can see them, when they play the Steelers, it just turns into that old, chasing the receivers around all day, all afternoon. And that's the one thing that, we want to stay away from. But unfortunately, the past won't let me get past that in my mind. So, we're due to beat Buffalo, to get that out of our heads. Because if we win these next 2 games, we beat the Bears and the Bills, I think this team's going to be feeling really confident. Certainly going into a Baltimore game where that Baltimore defense is just not shit. Cleveland, as bad as that offense was last week, played considerably well. Shador played, it was his first game ever. But again, that Ravens defense is a shell of what it's used to being. That I'm not worried about. Feel the Steel. In the past 10 years, we've seen the same shit. Absolutely. It's either going to be one of 2 things. It's going to be more of the same, or maybe something magical happens, guys. Maybe some of these other teams fall out. Maybe the Chiefs don't make it. Maybe the Buffalo Bills play somebody before we do and get eliminated. Again, they lost to Houston last night. So 4 losses so far for Buffalo. Guess what? We have 4 losses. Just saying. Cody says, if we beat Bears and Bills, I'm buying Lindsay a Slade jersey. All right. Ramsey will like that. She goes on to say, LMAO, you could keep that. You could keep that shit, man. Cody says this: Lindsay gets a Slade, Jamal gets a Friar. Christmas at Cody's. Everybody gets the jersey of the guy that they hate. And Tortilla goes on to say Cody gets a Thornhill. Mark Malone, I don't worry about the Best Buy dates. I let my nose be the guide. Lindsay says, you're getting a Tomlin one special order. Cody, is that a Mexican joke? Tortilla. Tortilla says it wasn't, but let's say it was, so I sound smart. I love it. Cody says, because the name won, I got to get the Thornhill. Okay. I'm seeing that now. Lindsay says, you got me cracking up every day. Love it. Tyrone says, Ryan, I'm a funny guy. Tyrone, you are a pretty cool guy. I do love coming over and watch you guys. I like when both you and Tyrone are on. And, whoever guessed as well. But I like when the 2 of you are on together talking. It's a lot of fun. Yinzer Joe says, I have a feeling we're going to get a vintage Rodgers big game win this weekend, and the defense will pitch in too. We're due for we're due for a complete game. Offense, defense, special teams. we yin and yang. When was the last time we remember us yin and yang? And maybe Indianapolis. But we'd like to have both at once. I mean, come on, we're due. Cody says team bedtime is 8 p.m. Everybody already eats their tapioca and has their warm glass of milk before the game. Cody, shut the fuck up. Tyrone and Phil Steele says this: expecting others to fail is bull. Teflon Dawn hasn't gotten Steeler Nation where they're like Noah and Cower did. And you know, that's of course debatable, and I just think that right now it's what we're kind of working with. A couple things I do want to get into. The game I mentioned, it was 30 years ago. This was my senior year in high school, believe it or not. It was my first Super Bowl experience. I was still shitting myself, not by choice, when the first couple Super Bowl, or my first couple Super Bowls were happening in the 78, 79. But this was my first Super Bowl, guys, and probably one of the biggest games of my life, because I've never had a Super Bowl, and I was so hungry for a Super Bowl. And this is how it went down. That year when we played the Chicago Bears, the game that we needed to win, November 5th, 1995, guys. Neil O'Donnell, you know Neil O'Donnell. He went 34-52, 341 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Eric Pegram, the running back, had 3 touchdowns that game. Thigpen, 10 catches for 108 yards. And Darren Perry had 2 fumble recoveries and an interception in that game. That was the Super Bowl season 30 years ago. That was the first matchup against the Bears that really mattered. Again, we started 3-4. Everybody counted us out. This team ain't going to do nothing. They win 7 in the next 8 games. They go in and the rest of the story, they get to the Super Bowl. And like I said, 20 years ago was the picture that you see right next to me. So again, can this be one of these seasons, guys? Can this be one of those seasons that stand out? It's a Super Bowl that ends with 0. We've been to 3 out of 5 of them. So I'm just putting all that out there, guys. Also, I do want to say this. Games that have been on CBS, which is this week as well. The Steelers are on CBS. Games that the Steelers played on CBS this season, guys, we were 5-0. 1-4 on the other networks. Steelers are 5-0 on CBS this year, 1-4 on all the other networks, and the Steelers, in fact, are playing on CBS this weekend. Again, doesn't mean anything, but the fact of the matter is, you've won 5-0. You went 5-0 on CBS, so we're gonna hold that to us. We're gonna hold on to that as well. I truly, truly do think that we have a chance on Sunday, and I truly do think this is the biggest game of the year to this point, guys. It's not a must win, but it's a must win, because then you have a different problem if you don't win, because then you have Baltimore beating the Jets more than likely, and again, it turns into a different kind of season. Then you got that little bit of a lead still. You worked for that. Try to capitalize on that and see what could happen, guys. Again, the AFC and the NFL is wide open this year. It could be anybody. It could be Denver. And listen, if it could be Denver, it could certainly be Pittsburgh. So let me get into the injury reports, guys. This is as of Thursday night. Last night, the Thursday night injury report looks like this. Did not practice yesterday. It was Cam Hayward with his rest day. Limited yesterday, of course, was Aaron Rodgers with his wrist. He did practice in a limited capacity. Jalen Warren with his ankle. Isaac Seumalo with his pec. And Alex Highsmith with his pec. Full practice yesterday was Keshawn Williams, who was out with his concussion. Jonnu Smith, who was out with rest. TJ Watt, who was out with rest. Cole Holcomb, who was out with an illness. And Darius Slay with his concussion as well. Were all full practice yesterday. So we're getting healthy. I think the few of the guys that are limited are going to be playing. I think we're going to see Alex Highsmith still. These guys are day to day, but again, I haven't heard anything to the sense that they might not be playing. Again, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Warren, Isaac Seumalo, and Alex Highsmith all limited at practice yesterday. For the Chicago Bears, it looked like this. Did not practice yesterday. Linebacker Tremaine Edmonds with his groin. Noah Sewell, the linebacker with an elbow. TJ Edwards, the linebacker with a hamstring. Rashawn Johnson with a thumb. And Joe Tooney with the day off with the rest. Limited for the Bears. Kyler Gordon, the cornerback, out with his calf. He's actually on injured reserve. Tyreek Stevenson with the hip calf. Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle, with his pec. Drew Dalman, the center, with his knee. Theo Banaday with his quad. Back to full practice yesterday was Juwan Brisker, the DB. Kevin Byard with rest. He was out. He was back yesterday. Grady Jarrett back yesterday. And then DeAndre Swift with his hip, of course. He was back yesterday. So that's a little look at everything up to date till today as far as injuries goes, heading into this week 12 matchup. Again, guys, this is as big. This falls into that category of a fork in the road to me. Because there's some games left that I think are going to be difficult for us to win, and there's some games left that I think that we should totally win. I think this one is just it's that fork in the road for us. You win this game, you're starting to feel better going into that last 6. If you lose this game, we're back to scratching our heads thinking, all right, what do we got to do? How are we going to fix this problem? We got 34 DBs and 33 tight ends, and what are we going to do? And quarterback this, and coaches that, and running backs this, and offensive line that, and defensive line this. And so this win, this is kind of this is a turning point in the season. I do think, guys. I think this could be a very important win if the Steelers get it. Again, we could be sitting 7-4 next time we all see each other on Monday. So hoping that that's the case. But again, I think the chances of us doing something just got a little bit better after last night. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. Let me get back on the board. I don't want to miss out on anybody today or ever. Tyrone says this, what are a few keys to the victory, my guy? I think a few keys to this game is containing Caleb Williams. You got to spy him good. Get somebody athletic and can move around a lot and get to him quick, and not maybe Peyton Wilson, just because he's kind of a beast. He's sideline to sideline. Sorry, guys. You got to be able to contain Caleb Williams is my first key to victory. Number 2, get pressure. Get pressure on Caleb Williams. It's got to be a big day for the guys up front. If the guys up front have a big day, I think we win this football game. Again, Caleb Williams has one of the slowest snap to release times in the NFL. Games where that's the opposite, the Steelers struggled. Think about it. Joe Flacco, the quick pass game, murdered us. Copycat Green Bay, fast pass game, murdered us. The fact that the Bears have a slow pass game works to our advantage heavily. So the front 7, they have a big day. The Steelers win this football game. And number 3, the Chicago Bears defense is comparable to the Cincinnati Bengals defense when it comes to stopping the run. Run, rabbit, run. There's no reason not to pound Jaylen Warren down their throat all day. There's not a reason not to let Kenny do his thing, Kenny Gainwell. Beat him up. We're going to have to beat him up a little bit. We've got a big tight end, bruise out. Go out there and bruise these guys. Again, a team that can't stop the run ain't going to be trying to tackle you in the fourth quarter if you bring a full dose of Jaylen Warren and Mount Washington for 3 quarters. So those 3 things are my keys to beating the Bears this week, guys. Again, contain Caleb Williams. 2, get pressure. Big day by the front 7. And 3, on offense, run some more. Because those 3 things play to the weaknesses of the Bears, and that's how I think that you beat this football team. Again, they are 7-3. Not a great 7-3, but you know what? They are 7-3, and you could always compare schedules and who'd you play, who'd we play, who's this team? They didn't play anybody. At the end of the day, this is a beatable team for us. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers can win this game, and if the Steelers sitting at 7-4 at that point with 6 games left, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And I seen the number the other day. We're definitely in the top 8 as far as toughness of schedules the rest of the way out. So that just be what it be at this point, guys. So Tyrone, thank you for asking, bro. That's definitely my keys to beating the Bears. I think if they do that or something similar to that, we should be okay. Into Joseph, I think it's a good thing we play. We only have one more late game. It's against the Dolphins in Pittsburgh. Dolphins don't like to play in the cold or in the snow, so maybe it's a win. They're terrible in December. Absolutely horrific, because when they go up north, they never win. They're ready to be done. And the fact of the matter is, think about Miami, they're ready to be done halfway through the season because they always blow. So then you got this team coming up to cold Pittsburgh in December, no chance. And, they're already thinking off season. They're human beings. So you're right, 100%. Yinzer Joe, I think that is a totally winnable game for us. Tyrone says, yep, on CBS. Yinzer Joe says O'Donnell got paid off to throw that Super Bowl against Dallas. I don't believe anything. I'll never believe anything else. It's been 30 years strong. Nobody will ever change my mind. Cody says 30 years ago you were 18. Damn, retirement. I wish, man. It's still a little further away than I'd like it to be, but point taken. Lindsay says this. JJ Watt, love when he announces our game. Yes, he's back. He's announcing this weekend. So those are all, again, these are some good signs. Do they mean anything? I don't think. But at the end of the day, there's things that you like to hear and makes us feel a little bit better about our team. Mark Malone says Neil was rocking. He had a great season. I thought I had his numbers from the season, but I don't. But again, in that particular game that we're talking about, he threw 341 yards, a couple touchdowns. Definitely a must-win, Tyrone. It's a big game. It really is a big game. A non-conference game against the Chicago Bears. Believe it or not, it's a huge game for us. Tyrone says facts. Lindsay and TJ go dumb. Cody, 30 years ago, I almost got shot into a sock. Yeah. Tortilla says Derpy gets a Highsmith jersey because he only shows up once a month. Man, you guys are killing today. That's a really good one too. Really good one. Tortilla, Cody, praise the Lord. Cody also says this, Jesus, great man. Anytime I do anything bad, I apologize to Jesus and he has to forgive me. Tyrone says Cody on BS today. I see also the VTTV, the VT18, Caleb Williams can't read a zone defense to save his life. I do want to say welcome to the board. Great to see you. Tortilla says that means we're probably going to play man all game. Mark Malone, I don't think we need to worry about. Williams will probably throw a couple picks. All the more better. Again, you get pressure on this dude. But also you got to keep your eye on this dude as well. Tortilla, lucky for Williams, all he has to do is throw it slay all game. The field is still keys to game. Score on offense, get off the field on defense. Football 101, no 3 and outs on offense and score when defense gives you the ball, gives you the ball back. Arthur Smith. And you know what? I agree with all those things. And to be honest, I think that those are things that you have to do every single week in, week out. The fact that you got to keep telling these guys this is what you got to do, I think it's kind of mind-boggling in a way. But you're right. I mean, all those things. Get off the field on third down. Be able to get the first down. Stop going 13 yards short of the sticks on 3rd and 16. Tortilla says the stash versus painted nails. Aaron Jade, what's up? He says, here we go, Steelers. Always great seeing Aaron Jade on the board at the VT18. Why the fuck does my chat not show everyone's at username? You know what? It just started changing that all of a sudden. I don't know. I noticed it yesterday. And not the nicknames anymore. How? I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I noticed it yesterday. I don't know why it's doing it. Cody says this: if we can't contain Williams, we can't contain Allen. Exactly. Look at these next 3 quarterbacks we got, guys. Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, if anything, you win this game, you gain a benefit also by practicing that style for exactly what's mentioned on the board. And again, these guys are exceptional at what they do. So, this is a huge game. All in all, it's a huge, huge football game against the Chicago Bears mid-season, out of conference. Who would have thunk it? Feel the steel. Real men don't retire. That's right. We go till we die. Tyrone. D-line got to eat for sure, man. Big day by Benton, big day by Harmon, big day by Cam. Any of these guys have a big day. You know the kind I'm talking about. The kind of usually leads to about maybe a 5-sack total day, which comes from a couple linebacker sacks, maybe a couple lineman sacks. If it's that kind of day, I like our chances, guys. I like our chances a lot. At Phil, real men don't fanboy over other men either. Jeez. Who is that VT, I wonder? Tortilla says, yes, they do. Mark Malone says, Derpy doesn't get up this early very often. Yeah, so he talking about retired. Derpy's more close to retirement than any of us. Fucker. Tyrone says, "Is cool? Is Mike cool?" Yeah, no, I think so. I don't know. He's something. Cody says, "I'm gonna retire at 50. I'm gonna sell my house for $500,000, take a penalty, and live off my 401k." I hope that works out for you, man. I really do. I really do. Vegas says, Stan Musial, 1920. Errol the Pearl Monroe, 1944. Troy Aikman was born on this day in 1966. Ken Griffey Jr. on this day in 1969. Michael Strahan on 1971. He was born on this day as well. Also, I think VT is RB. No, maybe. I just assumed it was Mike with the VT, the Vanilla Thunder, but I don't know. I honestly don't know if it's him or not. Let's see. Mark Malone. Ain't a bad way to fly. Probably wouldn't sell the house unless you have another one somewhere else. Your boy RB. It's RB. Fucking stupid chat. Yeah, see, there's RB right there. That's RB. The your boy RB. He says it's RB. Fucking stupid chat changes. Then I think I fixed. You know what? It's not you. I don't know what it is. I've been noticing it yesterday. People's names have been coming up different. Vegas says this. The bus ran over 54 after he ran over 43. And finally, Yinzer Joe. Okay, here we go. O'Donnell had 2,970 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. We had a good running game with Bam Morris and Eric Pegram. So that is what it looked like. Thank you, Joe. Greatly appreciated on that. As always, guys, this right now, the passing leaders for the Steelers, of course, DK Metcalf is leading the way, but Kenneth Gainwell, literally, guys, and I didn't even realize he had this many. I knew that he was working his way up by getting some catches. Kenneth Gainwell, guys, only one catch behind DK Metcalf this year as far as the passing leaders go. I thought that I here it is. DK Metcalf, he has 37 catches so far, guys. Gainwell, 36. We're about to have a running back be the leading receiver for this team. I mean, I think the chances are good of that happening because, again, Kenneth Gainwell could certainly get hit on checkdowns a lot more than DK will get hit, I do believe, down the field. And this will be the first time since 1994 that a Steeler running back has led the team in receiving. And that was no one other than, of course, John L. Williams back in 94, the great John L. Williams. That was the last time that we had a running back that led the way as far as the Steelers go. And is this what the Arthur Smith offense is? Maybe this is what it is. Maybe this is what it is. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, of course, again, Metcalf, 37 catches right now. Kenneth Gainwell, 36 catches. Jonnu Smith somehow is in third place with 26 catches. That blows my mind. Jalen Warren, 25 catches. Freiermuth, only 23 catches. Austin, 22. Washington, 18. That's got to change. Roman Wilson has 12 catches. Where the hell did he accumulate all them catches? And Connor Hayward with 2. So again, Kenneth Gainwell can certainly be the receiving leader on this team by this time next week easily, I think. I really do. Lindsay's saying this. He says DK needs to have a big game. But if he does have a big game, it just all the more goes into what we need to happen. And, if he has a big game, it's going to be big for us. Just what team shows up on Sunday? What team shows up in Chicago on Sunday, I think, is the question to ask. Because, again, if it's a team that plays good, I feel that we can beat this team. If it's a team that plays bad, you don't know. You just don't know. You're quarter by quarter. You're popping tums like there's no tomorrow. So, ultimately it has to which team shows up? Mike Tallman. Omar said y'all was talking shit about me. Somebody's having fun. Somebody's having fun with the handles. Mark Malone says we've got to get Roman Wilson, and we got to get some kind of receivers involved, man. They got to get out there and do their thing. Because again, I don't know. I'm okay with Kenneth Gainwell being the receiving leader on the team, but it just doesn't seem right to me. It just doesn't seem right. RB says, I don't know why it's upsetting about backs catching passes. It was common before. Larry Centers, Vince Workman, LT, and Falk back have 100. Here's the problem, though. We don't even have a number 2 wide receiver. Listen, and again, people will say, well, it's fine because it was working out. They're getting the catches. They're doing well. They're being successful. But again, they have not addressed the big issue, I don't think, in 2 seasons. I think that's the bigger picture here. I'm fine with Gainwell being where he's at. I'm just saying that we should have more receivers on this list. The fact that the second receiver don't come up till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth spot on this list. That's the second wide receiver on your receivers list. Your second wide receiver is in the sixth spot. And there's running backs and tight ends and everything. So again, that's all I'm saying. And if this is what the offense is, it is what it is. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like I said, you'd rather have a skillful wide receivers are talented. They're athletic guys. Why wouldn't you like to have an extra one of them on the field at any given time? Mike Tomlin, tell Aaron to throw him the ball. I had Roman in all game. Cody says, man, Woody Harrelson has a better chance of dunking than Vanilla Thunder. Tyrone, where's Jamal when you need him, man? Tortilla says that, Mike Tomlin. You supposed to be at practice right now? Come on, ain't you supposed to be focusing, man? We got a big game on Sunday. What are you doing? Get out of here, you knucklehead. Lindsay said it's a rest day. And Cody says, why not just have DK on one side, Johnny on the other, and Roman and Calvin Austin in the slot, and Darnell and Freiermuth as the tight end? And I think that's ultimately that's kind of what they do. Here's one for you guys. Jonnu Smith, last 133 snaps in the last 4 games, 1 first down by Jonnu Smith. 1. Let me read that again. Jonnu Smith, in the last 133 snaps in our last 4 games, Jonnu Smith, 1 first down. So, say what you want. I'm still trying to figure out this offense. Obviously some of the teams around the league are figuring it out. We're still trying to figure out what the hell we're doing, but those are some of the numbers that just kind of baffle you. They baffle you a little bit because that's one of our weapons. That's one of our weapons. That's technically the other wide receiver if you're looking at the things, the way in that last comment. 1 first down by this guy, and again, brought in to do more than that, I would think. Yinzer Joe, Bears corner, right, is 6'4" and has 4 interceptions this year. The other corners are around 5'11". Mark Malone says that that's six dudes at Cody. That's some kind of Mexican math. Oh man. RB says, Ryan, who's Kansas City? Number 2. Who's Buffalo? Number 2. Who's San Fran? Oh, number 2. And and like I said, I mean, it's generally speaking. And look where Buffalo is this year. They're not winning, are they? I mean, they're winning, but didn't they just drop a couple games to some teams they maybe shouldn't have? Where's Kansas City? They certainly don't look that great this year. He says plenty of legit teams don't even have a real number 1. Wouldn't you like another receiver? Wouldn't you like another guy that's skilled that could catch a ball? That's all I'm saying. I'm not comparing to anybody. I'm just saying for the betterment of our team, we complain and this and that, and we're not being able to do this. We can't get off the field, or we can't get third downs. We can't pass past, we can't throw past the line of scrimmage on third. Wouldn't this help? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's what's screwing up our whole season. That's what's going to make us lose. But ultimately, wouldn't you want a guy? Don't you want an extra guy that again plays the position? For me, I do. I mean, I want production. You have to be able to move the ball. You got to be able to pass. You got to be able to score points. And again, I don't think the Steelers put themselves in the best possible position to do that. And instead of having that wide receiver, we're going to say Jonnu Smith is the guy. Jonnu Smith is not the guy. Jonnu Smith literally has done nothing. I think there was an early season jet sweep touchdown, and he might have caught another touchdown. I don't have his numbers in front of me. But again, if you really feel that this offense is good enough without the wide receiver too, I'll respect that. And again, he's it's who's New England's number 2. If you feel that this offense is good enough without that player, again, I will respect your opinion. I disagree respectfully. Phyllis Steele says new Selena document out, and we danced with her at Fiestas de los Flores in 1988. Abraham remember she would open up with freestyle. Let's see. Tyrone says Smith and Muth needs the ball. Cody says, I'm saying that Calvin Austin III and Roman can switch out with each other, and Fryermuth and Darnell can do the same, which is pretty much what they do. Somers, hey, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Somber on the terrible board. Somers says this: if they draft a receiver in round 1 or 2 and they don't work out, then what? Well, I mean, that's that's the next logical step, or look around the league, see what's out there. But what are we going to do? Go the next 5 years without a wide receiver? Everyone keeps arguing the point that we don't need him. We don't need him. We don't need him. But again, as a football fan of this team, don't you want to have a receiver, a guy to play the spot? Let's see where we be here. Cody says, all in all, just move Johnny to wide receiver 2. Tortilla, then we trade them to the Bears. Mark Malone, I get it. LOL. Yinzer Joe, I see a lot of NFL starting to use the Steelers' offensive philosophy. The heavy set is working pretty good around the league. RB, no, I wouldn't. We don't run the ball enough now, and adding another $15 to $20 million guy to see 7 to 8 targets a game. So just don't have no receivers. Let's just go all tight ends and running backs from here on out. All right. Again, respectfully disagree. Tortilla says 7 and 8 is generous. But if it's a playmaker, if it's a guy that makes plays and gets touchdowns and big gains and gets first downs, again, Jonnu Smith, 133 snaps in his last 4 games, 1 first down conversion for that guy. Wouldn't you like to see numbers that are better than that? I'm kind of baffled by the argument. I don't know why you wouldn't want to improve. Mark Malone says, I let the Roman play flanker 100% of the time out there from here on out. RB says Mike Tomlin will never allow another team of his to be a 70-30 run to pass game. Notice since Ben left, all he wants to do is wants as a game manager for quarterback, and that's why he's stale. This is a part of the reason why he's stale. And when people were blaming you for this and saying you're that why you don't like the coach, no, you point to them to things like this and you say, this is why we're stale. Either these things need to change to get better as a football team, or you got to move on. Lindsay says we need another wide receiver. Absolutely, we need another wide receiver. You can't go 3 years. Come on. The thing is, we're just not that good. Let's say we were a lot better and we were blowing the roof off this league. At this point, I just think you need what you can get, and got to take what you can get. And at this time, I think another set of hands, a set of valuable hands. And I'm not just talking about another set. I'm not talking about Van Jefferson. I mean, that's come on. That's a waste of everybody's time. I think we could all agree. Get somebody productive. Get somebody who's a playmaker. If you get one in the draft and he ends out shitting out, you know what? That's shit luck, because it happens now and then. And you go out, you try to get the best possible guy that you could get, and the guy that will fit your system. And again, that's something that you worry about then, and we'll be worrying about it in April. But right now, we got the Chicago Bears to worry about. Let's see. Somber says, "Oh, I want one." Just saying, the fans will always be crying. Absolutely, no two ways about it. Fans will always cry about it. That's 100% sure. So I would rather win and have the fans cry. That's all. I like winning, at least. Let's win and let the fans cry. If they're going to cry no matter what, let's win. Tyrone says we'll draft a wide receiver. I agree. What do you guys think? What do you guys think we're going after early? I mean, this quarterback situation, we obviously have our eyes open for quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, and a draft. Wide receivers, we're in a need. What do you guys think we're going after in the first round this year? It's interesting because I thought it would be a quarterback, but as the season goes on, I'm finding more and more holes in the team that we can certainly take advantage of the draft with. Cody says this: if Aaron Rodgers plays this week and sucks, are we all going to hate Rodgers? I'm going to start buying cabbage to throw. Yeah, probably. Or we'll go to his house and throw garbage in his yard like we did to Tommy Maddox back in the day. Tyrone says A-Rod will cook. Shut up, Cody. Feel the Steel says yes. Move on. Hang it up. Teflon Dawn. RB says you keep shitting on John. Well, okay, let me read the rest, to be fair. But go watch him. Okay. Go watch in Miami. all right, let me finish respectfully and see how he was used compared to how he's used here. Smith is a screen, drag, slant, not a post, flag. The fact of the matter is he's done nothing. Any job that they put him up to, it hasn't gone well. There's not been a sign that this guy's a playmaker at all. At any point in the first 10 games of the year, this guy could have did something with the football when he caught it. Again, he's the third leading receiver on this team with 26 catches. At any point during those 26 catches, he could have did something that would have said that this guy is somewhat of value to your offense. Going into every game, I don't count Jonnu Smith in when I'm trying to think of what could possibly happen in order to win a football game. Again, early on, he ran a jet sweep. I think he might have had a touchdown catch here or there. Very unnoticeable. And again, if you want to keep Jonnu as your wide receiver too, that's cool with me. I'm not arguing with you. It's not my opinion, but again, I would like to not be going that direction. Or if and as you said, Miami's offense is different. They had different stars. They have Tyreek Hill also on the field. Also Jalen Waddle. That opens things up for guys like Jonnu Smith. You think Jonnu Smith is getting the field open up for him? Yinzer Joe says this. Jonnu was a product of the Dolphins. Absolutely. Talk about guys being a product of the system in college. The best thing that could ever happen to Jonnu Smith was the Miami Dolphins offense. Yinzer Joe says Jonnu Smith was a product of the Dolphins system, and he had Waddle and Hill to help him out. I can see the Steelers trading Jonnu next season because he's not that, and Pittsburgh never will be. Unless they come out and run the Miami Dolphins style offense, and guess what? We're like the total opposite of that. Also, RB also says this. Also, I want a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, but let's be real. You can't pay 2 wide receivers when you pay 2 edge rushers. No, absolutely. Nobody's debating that. Again, we're paying a lot of money out on that defense that isn't coming to fruition, and that's part of the battle as well. So Humber says this. Early in the draft, it's looking like cornerbacks, wide receivers, quarterbacks, tackles, safeties, any of them. It could be any of them. Tortilla is saying quarterbacks, wide receivers, DBs, guards, safeties. Make Jonnu a gunner. Tortilla is saying. Yinzer Joe says quarterbacks are falling fast. Ciamalo will retire and Jones will be cut. So linemen will be first. Then that's what I'm saying. Now the line is involved. Again, I thought this was going to be a quarterback draft, but as we move on, it's where are we going to get our franchise quarterback? Or who we hope to be our franchise quarterback. Where does that come into play with all these other holes opening up? Cody also says this. When the team only runs 45 plays a game, running backs run 28, and we pass 17 times. There's not enough ball to be passed. But in the other part of it, though, it's been 10 games. Can we at least see 2 things that could have impressed us about Jonnu Smith? That's all I'm saying. Tortilla says, shit, Jones ain't getting cut. He's just won't get a 5th year. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Jones, to be honest with you. John says they will draft a tight end just to see how far they can push the fans before they start jumping off yellow bridges. This, I believe. Phyllis still says that. Cody Canada, too, calling the plays again. Warren the cook, too. So I'm saying Warren's got to they got to really they got to really bring the run game the Steelers do. The Bears defense, again, is comparable to the Bengals when it comes to stopping the run. Big game for the battering ram, Jalen Warren. Again, you gotta get Darnell Washington involved, especially if it's going to be a small game. If it's going to be a physical battle, you got to have him out there knocking some fools around. Even if he gets out front and blocks on some kind of play going outside, who the hell is going to get through that guy? Run a screen when or let's say a running back is out there for a screen and Darnell's just waiting to make the block. I mean, get out there and beat these guys up. I think that's what it's going to take. P, what's up, brother? Always great seeing P on the board. P says this. The Chargers did the same thing with the legit franchise quarterback in Rivers. LD, Tomlinson, I'm sorry, at running back, and Gates being the leading receiver for 10 years, made it to the championship game, made 1 championship game in 15 years. Steelers don't even have that quarterback. Tortilla says Aaron Smith doesn't use wide receiver too much. Arthur Smith, I'm sorry, doesn't use the wide receiver too much. I get it. I want 1 2. I just don't know if the play calls are there. That's why we have traded Pickens. Should have kept them. Jason Atkins, what's up, dude? Always great seeing you on the terrible board. He says the time is now to stack the offense because we don't have to pay a quarterback yet. You're right, man. It's true. RB says no one wants to hear this. We're going offensive line, defensive line, cornerback, edge. You know what? I'm all board if we need it. You know what I'm saying? If this is what we need, we feel that this should be our priority. I'm all for it, man. Somber says they'll probably draft 3 linemen total. The depth there is horrible. We need depth on the offensive line. Again, you lose one of these guys, especially on the right side. The left side's kind of been taken care of that with a few of these injuries that's been going on with Steamwalla, but we don't want any injuries to the right side, especially the right guard, where again, still a lot of people don't feel strong about the right guard position at this point. So Somber says this: McCormick is horrible. Isaac about to retire. Broderick is Broderick. RB, the issues no one wants to talk about. Name all the franchise quarterbacks in the last 10 drafts, like real franchise QBs, not our franchise dumb shit, or real franchise quarterback. How many are there? That's a good question. I'd have to research. I do not know, my friend. Mark Malone says let the big Johnson carry the load this week. Cody says why we need a wide receiver 2 when our top receivers are running back and we pass -3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I can't imagine why we need a receiver on this team. RB says the issues with quarterbacks are none of them are good. They only ever see man in college run everything from shotgun, and the coach makes the call via meme post boards. Tortilla, does DK wear a visor? He should take it off if he does. Tyrone says yes. Tyrone says, but he looks cold in it for sure. It's a black one. No, it does look nice for sure. So that's where we're at, guys. Let me know what you think. I got my prediction for this game. I'm going to throw it out early. We're about the halfway point here. I'm going to throw my prediction out for this game. I think the Steelers win this 24-23. 24-23 is what I'm going with on this one, guys. Throw your predictions up right now at the halfway point. Let me know what you think, how this game is going to turn out. Also, I do want to say, I hope you didn't miss out last night on the CBS Pick'ems, as Week 12 did start with the Texans and Bills game. If you did, it's all right. You could get back on it. Everybody lost, so it plays to your advantage. Everybody took Buffalo in that game, and the Bills lost, so you didn't lose anything, unless, of course, you were planning on taking the Houston Texans, which nobody did. So, again, if you missed out on your CBS Pick'ems last night, it's all right. Just make sure you get back in by Sunday so you could get your games counted for you. That is, if you could just go right outside onto our main page here on YouTube. It's a blue link at the top. It says CBS Sports Picks something or other. Click on that. It takes 30 seconds to sign up and costs absolutely nothing. Get in, make your picks, and it's a lot of fun. Myself and Mike and Derpy and Finch and the guys on the board, and we all get together. Don't get together. We just, make these picks on your own time and see how it comes out. So, again, don't want to forget, if you have not done them yet, get in and do that. And also, Derpy, don't forget to do your tiebreaker, you nugget. Every week I got to tell him with this tiebreaker. All right, let's go right here. Tortilla says if he took off, maybe he'd see the ball. If he took it off, maybe he'd see the ball, talking about the visor of Metcalf. Somber says, I think I'm done with the Artie Smith experiment. I'm limping through it, man. I'm limping through it. I'm limping through it. RB, Army quarterback. Any quarterback coming out anymore needs to sit 3 to 4 years before they have a chance. That's why you see the Bakers and the Darnolds and the Smiths and now Jones. No one ever learns how to play quarterback till the NFL. P says, and I do want to say what's up, P, my man. P says NFL needs to start developing quarterbacks. Draft Dart and Purdy are starting, for fuck's sake. It's always the quarterback's fault. John says GP didn't want to be in Pittsburgh anymore. He was going to continue to act out of control until he got what he wanted. Other wide receivers don't want to come to Pittsburgh because the quarterback and passing game aren't that good. And that was certainly the problem when Kenny Pickett was there and when Mitch Trubisky was playing and everybody else, Guys want to – I mean, we talked about the numbers and the difference between GP here and in Dallas. And then we looked at the numbers for DK here and GP in Dallas. It's night and day. If you're a receiver that wants the ball like that, like these young guys – They want the ball, feed me. This is not the place you're going to want to come. You know what I mean? P says it isn't always the quarterback's fault. No, you're right. It's what the league morphed into. It really is what the league kind of turned into, and it's putting these young men in positions. But again, and then they're saying, well, if you can't do it, if you can't live up to the pressure, if you can't, we're just going to go to the next guy, and then there's going to be somebody right behind him to take the spot and to see if he could do it. And it's kind of what the way the league is developing over years. Which that fluctuates. I think things like that kind of change over time and maybe come back on the pendulum. But you're right. That's what's going on. Like you said, with the Purdy's and these guys like this. Phyllis Steele says with the stash, Steelers 70, the Burrs 13. Cody says I see a lot of Matt Canada offense coming out on Sunday, especially if Rodgers plays hurt. We pray for Yak because we don't pass down the field. Phyllis Steele says with Rodgers, Steelers 3, Burrs 2. Tyrone totally agrees with Cody on that. Last thought piece says Rodgers ain't dodging anything but retirement. Richard says Bears 27. I'm sorry, Steelers 27, Bears 17, which happens to be the score of the Super Bowl in 1996, January 28, 1996 in Tempe, Arizona, where the Cowboys did beat us by that exact score, 27-17. We did mention that game just a little bit earlier. Cody says, hey, don't talk about Super Bowl champion Kenny P like that. Hey, I'm a Pitt guy, man. I like Kenny. I really do. Kenny's my dude. I wish him all the luck. Just didn't work out for him here. Mark Malone, good God. I'm just thankful we don't have to suffer through Sphincter, Canada, and Bustin' Midget. Christopher, what's up, dude? Always great to see my Christophus. What's up, brother? He says Houston gave us the blueprint on how to beat Buffalo. I can see, bro, whether you're saying that facetiously or whether you're being serious, I think that Houston-Buffalo game spoke volumes last night. I think that really opens things up. Do I think that the Bills stink? No, not by any means. But they certainly they put a blueprint out there. And guess what? Maybe we don't play the Bills in the first round and beat them. Maybe somebody else plays the Bills in the first round and beats them. It's a shitty way to think, but you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes things got to go that way. You're not always going to be the best at everything. You got to find another way. And let's just say somebody knocks out Buffalo in the second round or something before we have a chance to play them, And then you think about these other squads. You think, well, we're not consistent. We lose. Well, you know what? New England lost to us as well. And Indianapolis lost to us as well. And if we're not good, what's that say about that? So you see what I'm saying? There's, this might be a year to kind of buy in a little bit. Maybe not entirely. Maybe don't go out and buy your Super Bowl tickets just yet before you buy your Christmas gifts. But maybe. Just maybe. Let's move forward. My man RB, let's see what he got to say. You always hear how these guys love Tomlin and love to play for him. Who is it? The 29 to 33-year-olds who like a free check, no accountability, half the week off, and won't be benched for doing shit. I think that could be a good argument on Tomlin conversation day. I don't think that you're 100% wrong. Again, I think that there's more context than again, a lot of laying out the argument and everything. Of course, and I'm only saying this because again, the opposite side has their arguments too. So again, I don't think you're 100% wrong. And again, for a longer conversation, I think that you could probably hit on a lot of points on that, but not without resistance. Because again, I think both sides feel strongly about Coach, and I'm just saying this. I think things feel stale. As a football fan, as a Steeler fan my whole life, we haven't won a playoff game since Barack Obama was in office, guys. I'm just saying. There's been a Trump. There's been a Biden. There's been a Trump. We're not spoiled for wanting a playoff win. That's crazy. Why don't coin us as crazy because we want to win? That's what some people are saying. They're so spoiled. These fans are so spoiled. Bro, it's been 10 years. Is that too much to ask? Is a playoff win? So for these kind of reasons, I think you have an argument, against Tomlin, and I think people that like him have an argument as well. And I think again, for a different day, a different conversation, both sides could probably put out good arguments, and we could sit there and look at them. But at the end of the day, it feels to me like the end of Chuck Noll's career. It was just stale. He wasn't keeping up with the league. It was it was a lot like this. This is when I was learning football, unfortunately, and I'm seeing it again. So it's a feel, man. There's definitely a feel. Tyrone says, Cody, you meant baby hands, right, Kenny Pickett? Somber says the rookies say it too, of course, with the Coach Tomlin. I do want to say welcome and hello to at end of day 7568. Hey, go Steelers. I think it will be a good game. Steelers 31 to 10. I do want to say welcome to the terrible board end of day 7568. Glad to see you. I hope you're ready for the big game this weekend against the Bears. Piece is this. I mean, lately it's been the legit head cases that leave Pittsburgh, usually for a big check, too. Slay, Tyrone says Slay, our best DB. Bill Steele says, yeah, quit talking bad about Teflon Don. He's the best coach the Steelers ever had. Listen, I mean, you know, it's he's had a successful run. There's no two ways about it. But when you break it down and you look at things, again, it's been almost 10 years since we won in January, guys. That's not acceptable. Hey, call us what you want. I don't think that it's odd that we want our team to win a game in January, and we had to wait more. We got to wait a decade for that. It's just again, but listen. We are on a positive note, though. We came off a win. We're trying to stack wins. We get this win this week against the Bears. It's big, man. It really is big, especially with Buffalo coming to town next weekend. See what I'm saying? If things go well, we could be heading to Baltimore with going into that Baltimore game. Yes, going to Baltimore with an 8-4 record, coming off a Buffalo win. As I said, you're just going to start to see things a little bit different. You're going to start seeing things a little bit different. Then maybe we might still, we might start being a little bit more optimistic about what we have. But again, this is a huge game. This game is huge. Not a must-win, but huge. End of days 7568. He says Yahoo screw off. Also, Lindsay says okay. Yeah, okay. Tyrone, laugh my ass off. I'm telling JPJ. Fearless still says since Barack Yo Mama. Cody says Ryan finna get vanilla pissed again. P says this. Tomlin for sure thought McDaniel would have been available as an offensive coordinator by now, to be fair. JPJ is the GOAT, Tyrone is saying. Fearless still laughing at Barack Yo Mama. John says this Kansas City fans are spoiled. 2009 was a long time ago. The one thing about KC, though, I mean, that team didn't do anything since like Super Bowl II or some weird shit, you know? That's why I don't usually have a problem with KC. They just got annoying after a while, like New England did. But once they started looking good, I had no problem with them. They would be one of the teams that I wouldn't. I mean, could you imagine if it was the Ravens winning, going to 5 straight Super Bowls and 7 straight AFC championships? So again, I was kind of okay with the Chiefs. No big problems there. I'd like it to be us, but I understand it can't be us all the time. So end of days says this: the playoffs are tight games with home teams winning 60% most games. That's what I'm saying. We win this division, and this is going to be our only chance. Mark my word. A second team ain't coming out of the AFC North and going to the playoffs this year. It's not going to happen. I mean, look at Buffalo. They're sitting there at 7-4. They're not their division leader, so that's a high wild card seed already taken. The Chargers are in there playing decent. The Jaguars keep finding ways to win. So it's going to be tough. It'll be almost impossible for 2 teams from the AFC North to get into the division or into the playoffs. I'm sorry. John says Eagles fans are spoiled. They're just idiots over there. I don't know if they're spoiled. They become spoiled. But Eagles fans are just fucking morons. RB says the problem is Tomlin is a cover 2 coach. All he knows is cover 2, and he's got an ego that won't allow anyone to tell him they know more. When you only know one thing, aren't willing to listen. I think that there's an argument in that as well. I've definitely seen some stubbornness over the years, but then I tried to be fair, and I think, well, isn't there stubbornness with most coaches? Then I start to think, yeah. So again, I listen. I'm not discrediting your argument. As a matter of fact, you can use that in an argument, and I would probably agree with you. So again, let's see what happens this week. I say let's give them a shot. If we win again, going into Buffalo, guys, coming off a couple wins, and things could be good still in this weird, crazy year. All this unknown, all weird shit, teams beating teams they shouldn't beat, losing the team. So, Let's hang in there. Let's see what they could do in Chicago. RB says nothing can change. Field of Steel says Ryan at burping, freaking at Ryan bringing up Barack Mama again. What? I have no problem with the guy. Somber says this Buffalo looks like 80% of the league right now. That's what I'm saying. Hot and cold, just as Jekyll and Hyde as we are. If that continues to be the theme through the season, guys, I think that as Tyrone's saying in the next comment, the AFC is wide open. Is it likely that we'll get in and Buffalo won't? And those, I mean, obviously the odds probably aren't in our favor in a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's as wide open as it's been in a long time. New England certainly wasn't letting anybody else get in. Kansas City hasn't been letting anybody else get in. We got to take advantage of a year like this. Who knows? Who knows who the next dynasty could be? Maybe it'll start next year and we won't, you just don't know. RB says, I honestly think the way to win and counter the current NFL is old school ball. Oops, there it goes. Old school ball, but you need to have modern touches woven in. Unfortunately, Mike wants zero parts of taking risks. He's definitely, I was never a huge risk taker, but I certainly think that the risks you're seeing that change a little bit, I think, with him. He's getting a little bit older as a person. I think that is the way that I've been seeing it as a fan watching. Again, just kind of stale, guys. You don't have to argue or believe me. You could just look up the numbers, look up the past 10 years. Field of Steel says AFC's wide open, just like peaches, baby. RB says, you think with 70% of your money on defense, you feel comfortable taking risks on offense? Not Mike, because he won't even take risks on D. He just stands there and looks lost. Why do we do the same shit? Field of Steel says, I think those who think honestly should stop thinking honestly and realize that as long as Teflon Don is still Steelers head coach, nothing is going to change. Leave, please, Teflon Don. RB says, but this is the trap. Win a few games, lose a few, and then win a few, get blown out in round one. Let's see it again. We had a run. It's been the same damn thing. You know what? But at this point in the season, if we don't worry about it and enjoy this now, we don't even maybe get to the playoffs, or we don't, so that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Let's hope for the best. And like I said, I think Chicago is definitely beatable. That's where you start. There's no other game that matters to us than there's no game that matters more than the Chicago Bears game at this particular time. And no matter what happens moving forward, it starts with this Sunday at Soldier Field. Going over there and getting us wins huge, guys. I really do believe that. Let's see. Cody says you can't give up the ingredients to Mendo. We all might throw up. P says Casey was bad for almost the entirety of the colored TV era, with the exception of those Broadway Joe years. Yeah, you're right, man. End of days, I hope Rodgers has a good game and the defense gets 4 sacks. And like I was saying that the other day, or what I was saying earlier, end of days, they literally has one of the slowest snap to release times in the league. Caleb Johnson. If the front seven has a big day, and then we could use some of the skills on the back end, our DBs, to make some big plays. You bring it all together, get the rush and good coverage. We've either been getting rush or no rush, decent coverage, or when we get rushed. So again, it all has to come together. It'd be nice to yin and yang in Chicago this weekend. I'm getting tired of just yanging and not yanging and not yanging. Peanut butter and no jellying. You know what I'm saying? It's just win this week in Chicago goes a long way, guys. Joe Montana here. P is saying. Also, Somber says defense was horrible at the start. Offense is horrible now. Do we put it all together and make a run, or retract into our 9-8 total self, which is totally both of these? I think they're both possible. Only time will tell. He's saying, and I truly believe that either one of these is possible, because the defense was terrible early. It was terrible. But one thing that I do want to say about that defense is this. If I can just find it. I don't know where I had it. Oh, here it is. Cam Hayward. Get this. Cam Hayward, most defensive snaps without a missed tackle this year. Cam Hayward. So say what you want about old Cam. Maybe he doesn't appear that he's always working hard. Maybe you're, kind of got annoyed by him wanting money at the last minute on not a contract year. But he went the most snaps on defense without a missed tackle. So just kind of something to keep in mind as well, guys. While talking about this defense and maybe something that the front seven can do. P says Peach is catching stray D. Peach is catching stray D right now for shame. John says the Broncos and Patriots have been surprisingly consistent. The Colts had one shit the bed game against the Steelers. The Steelers have been so inconsistent. RB says, I mean, look at Andy Reid, like longtime successful coach. What he does today won't be what he does tomorrow, and wasn't what he doesn't feel. I agree. That's what good coaches do. You got to change with the game, and you got to adjust, and you got to be able to impose your will. The fact of the matter is, if you're going around getting pushed around and you're on your heels all afternoon, you're not going to win a lot of them games. You got to have confidence in what it is that you do. You got to be able to impose your will. And what it does, what that means for Andy Reid is you got to revise, you got to make adjustments, you got to make changes, and it's just not by half, it's not by quarter, it's all the time with him, because every team is not the same. You got to play Buffalo different than you play Chicago. You got to play Chicago different than you play Cincinnati. You got to play Cincinnati different than you play Green Bay. So again, that's what makes a coach like Andy Reid so good. And again, if your arguments against Mike Tomlin, you might say, well, this is kind of one of his the negative things about him, because he doesn't exactly do a whole lot of changing things around. What we've been doing under the Tomlin coaching is been basically similar to what he's been doing for quite a few years. Quite a few years. So again, when all these teams say they're not surprised by anything the Steelers do, we know what the Steelers are going to do. We know exactly what the Steelers are going to do. It's no coincidence that this term keeps coming up around the league by players and coaches and everything. So again, point that to people when people say, well, what is it that you don't like? Why don't, he's never had a losing season. Why I can't imagine why you don't like him and you don't want him here. These are legit arguments, guys. RB says we've been doing the exact same shit for 10 to 12 years. I just took the word right out of my mouth. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude. And if you want him to stay, support him to change things. And you got to keep up with the Kardashians. You can't be on your heels all the time. You have to be able to play a game where you're imposing your will. Tyrone says we got to be better on both sides this game. I agree. We got to be better on both sides moving forward. If we want anything to happen in January, you got to improve. You got to consistently be better on both sides of the ball. No two ways about it, bro. John says I have no faith they can string together 4 playoff wins in a row. I hope, yeah. John, and the thing about you're similar to I am in the way that you are a realist about your football, and a lot of things is writing on the wall, and I could agree with that. But there's a part of me that's always going to be the kid. There's a child inside of me. Not in a weird way, but the child inside of me is always optimistic about the team, And when you think of it, we've had more successful seasons than anybody. If we're going to, consider successes as being championships, with the exception of New England, of course. So again, a lot more teams should be a lot more angry than we are, being that we have been successful more than anybody. Tyrone says defense definitely going to carry. I hope, man. I hope they step up. It's got to be on all 3 levels too, Tyrone. Like I said, front 7. If they do their job, for one, the front 3, 4 guys, they got to get pressure. The guys in the middle, they have to contain Caleb, not let him get anywhere. Pick up on the short passes, get out there on checkdowns, and then the defense, they just got to go out and do what they do. We have, they built this team to come in and be special. So it's sometime they have to become special. The secondary. Who counted that stat? His brother. Somber said Cam on that. Yeah, it might be. Somber said I saw that stat, Cam stat earlier. RB says players, coordinators all change. Coach is the only thing to remain. Prep, game plans, and results are the things that never change. And again, these are the arguments that you can certainly use with people, dude. I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. Yinzer Nation, what's up? I always want to say welcome to Yinzer Nation. Yinzer Nation says Steelers run cover 2, 12%, cover 3, 31%, and cover 1, 28% of the time. LOL. I do appreciate that scoop, dude. I appreciate it, man. I do want to say welcome, and also do want to say welcome to John Peveril. John Peveril 8604. He says, I hope they don't take them for granted. You know what, John? It's very important that they don't take this team for granted. I believe this, and I've been saying this all year for this reason. Every single game, and if any of you guys, I mean, you played termites, mighty mites, midgets, junior high, high school, college, whatever the case may be, you take every game. Every game is the biggest game that you're going into. Every game is the biggest game of the year. Try to be 1-0 every game. But I do want to say welcome to both of you gentlemen on the board. RB says, watch any other team the coaches coaching guys, talking them, firing them up, reacting to thing, and then watch Mike week in, week out stand there looking lost. I know. Again, you're not wrong on a lot of these arguments. I don't disagree, RB. Joe says Andy Reid is letting his coaches coach the players while he manages the game and runs the offense. Head coach should be coaching up players. That's what they have. Position coaches. Injured Nation says this isn't high school. Tyrone says Ryan the GOAT. I appreciate that, sir. The Belgeville. All right, looks like we are caught up. Let me get into a few things here, guys. Of course, a lot of us are hoping that Aaron Rodgers starts, the guy that has the pedigree. Some people are hoping that Mason Rudolph gets playing time. Guys, let me tell you a couple numbers about Mason Rudolph. His last four regular season games that Mason played in, the Steelers have been 4-0 in. 4-0, Mason Rudolph in those 4 games have thrown 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's going to be hostile. It's going to be in Chicago. Who's better than playing in a hostile Chicago than Aaron Rodgers? As he said yesterday, it's going to come down to 2 things. The doctor's got to give him the doctor's got to give him the okay. That's going to be the deal breaker number 1. Deal breaker number 2, he has to feel that he could protect his fractured wrist, which is on his lawn throwing hand. But still at this time, guys, we don't know. It's going to be how he feels and how the doctors say that he's looking on Sunday morning going into the game at Chicago. I personally want the veteran. I personally want the know-how. I personally want the guy who has experience winning in Chicago. Of course, the Steelers win 1 time at Soldier Field since 1936, I do believe it was. So again, at the end of the day, yes, Mason's been playing good. But again, I think that's showing us what he really is. He's a good backup. If Aaron could play, I want the guy. If it was Aaron's throwing hand, we have a whole different story. This hand, we're going to wrap it up like he did it with at practice yesterday. He was limited. He just wants to be able to be sure he can protect it, and there are ways to protect that wrist and hand. So hopefully, in my opinion, again, I want the veteran. I want the guy with the know-how, and I want the guy, again, who knows how to win in Soldier Field. And this is definitely something that the Steelers have not been able to do just 1 time again since 1936, pre-World War II. I don't even know what else was in that time period. It's just the only thing I could think of. Tortilla says when you got red paint the nameless gray face red Mike Tomlin, I think. Lindsay says, what's everyone's score prediction? Tyrone saying 24-20 the Steelers. End of days is saying 29-10 Steelers. Tortilla saying 24-17 Steelers. Phil is still saying stash. He wants nothing more than to see Mason Mercury playing on Sunday. My prediction, guys, is 24-23. 24-23. Maybe maybe you know what? This could be an overtime game. Wouldn't this be a crazy game to be an overtime game? Non-conference in Chicago. Never win there. We only play them on years that we go to the Super Bowl, it seems like. Maybe a 24-23 overtime. I guess you can't do that. It would only be 1 point. But it's going to be close, guys. I really do think it's going to be close. And as long as it stays close, I think we have a chance, just as we have every other game. So let's see what else we got to get into today, guys. The show's actually going pretty quick today on the Steeler Friday. I'm glad to see everybody. I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out today. Let's talk about a few things, and then I'm going to get into overs and unders today. So stick around on the board. I need your opinion on what these overs and unders are going to be for this week for the Pittsburgh Steelers game, guys. I got it all set, but let me just double check here. Let me see that I'm caught up on. Here's one for you. The big name that we've been talking about, everybody's been talking about in Pittsburgh, has been, of course, James Pierre. James Pierre, guys, let's see. This season has been targeted 23 times. He's given up 10 catches for a total of 79 yards. His eight passes defended is sixth highest in the NFL. He's moving on up, guys. You got to like, again, not the worst, not the best, but again, for a guy that you're giving quality playing time to. And also, one other thing I do want to say about our cornerbacks, JPJ has been talked about a lot lately in the sense that, you know what? You're not hearing his name. That's a good thing. JPJ right now, guys, he has an 84.1 cornerback rating as of last week, week 11. He had an 84.1 cornerback rating, which was first in the league, just ahead of Quentin Mitchell. So, and I agree, Tyrone. I think he's doing well. And again, like an offensive lineman, the less you hear about your DBs, certainly your corners, the better they probably are playing. You hear about corners a lot when they're getting burnt, when they're chasing guys around. Just like an offensive lineman, only holding and penalties is when you really hear them. So a lot of times, this is what we expected, Tyrone, and this is what we needed from JPJ. This is why we drafted him when we did. Technically a second-round pick, but it came out like it was a first-round pick that year. We had 2 first rounds. And, of course, he's Joey's son, and that plays a big part here in Pittsburgh, as Jeremiah Trotter Jr. in Philadelphia. And, I mean, that's just the way it goes. But at the end of the day, that's, I can't say that I'm disappointed. He's really picking up his end as Slay struggles, as Slay goes out with his concussion, as, the season's happening. JPJ, he's been as solid as I think that we could expect. Yes, a few handsy penalties here and there. We get that. But you know what? Go around the league. Tell me where, it happens. Has he cost us any game? I don't think he did. So I'm kind of excited about that. Also, guys, we were wondering about the quarterback. What's going on? It's going to come down to Sunday to figure it out. This is what was said as Aaron Rodgers had a limited practice yesterday. The term to describe Aaron Rodgers at practice yesterday, he's looking really good. So if that gives you any indicator on how you feel that it might go this week, on what direction we may go as far as the quarterback, they're saying the words, it came out literally 2 words, really good. And as I was mentioning earlier, Aaron Rodgers did put out those 2 things that he needs for himself to play on Sunday. Again, the doctor needs to okay him. 2, he needs to feel comfortable with his wrist and being able to keep that safe. So again, those few things there. What else do we want to get into? I got a few more things, guys, and we're going to get into the overs and unders today as we are rounding third here on the show. Here, one more comment about Aaron. This is what Arthur Smith said. This kind of maybe goes into a little bit of what we were talking about earlier with Coach T. Arthur Smith, suggests that Aaron Rodgers will decide his own status against the Bears. Of course, it's ultimately what I've been saying in a roundabout way. And he says, I just trust him. I get it. I know what that means. But at the end of the day, does this kind of signify what goes on with the Steeler team? Who's calling the shots? Maybe I don't know. I want Aaron, but the offensive coordinator, I trust him. And it might work out. It might be fine. He might do well. He might be great. We might win the football game. But again, it's just that lackadaisical attitude around this team. Also, in offense, is this the golden age for tight ends, guys? I absolutely love Darnell Washington. He might be my new favorite Steeler. But also around the league, we got guys like Brock Bowers. You got guys like Tyler Warren. Could he be the leader of the new pack? I mean, every so often you get that pack of guys. The Antonio Gates and what was the other guy? Tony Gonzalez. That pack. That was a pack. And then, you had the Gronks and then all those guys. And then Kelsey and Kittles. And is this the next group of tight ends in the NFL? And if it is, I like our chances and I like where our guy stands in that because, again, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren, Washington. Come on, guys. You got to like that. Let's see. 2 more things, and then we are going to get to the overs and unders on the day. I just don't want to miss anything here for you guys. All right, finally, one last thing, guys. This has been talked about. The fake tush push. The fake tush push. We've seen something, we're seeing a little variation of the tush push. And I always wondered that to myself. Why not put everybody in, bring everybody in like you're doing the tush push, snap it, maybe I don't know, some kind of deceptive snap. Maybe have the center. I don't know, whatever you decide to do, but maybe just have a tight end or somebody that's out on the outside on the tush push. Just kind of sneak out real fast. Get your fastest guy and have him sneak out into the flat, and bam, pop that ball over to him. You just never know, man. You never know. Once people start using varieties of it, maybe Tomlin could be the trailblazer. If he could be the guy that perfects the fake tush push, and then we'll say, look at this guy. He's moving forward, making things better, making changes, innovative. A fake tush push. I like that. It would, of course, need its own name. I don't know what its name would be, but it wouldn't be right if it didn't have its own name. All right, guys, let's get into the overs and unders of this week's game. I need all your help today because usually myself and a co-host would do this part of the show. You know what I'm going to do? Let me read a couple of these. I'm going to get caught up on your messages, and then we'll do the overs and unders because I certainly don't want to leave anybody out. And this great Friday, the Steeler Friday, guys, heading into this game against the Chicago Bears. Let's get back to it, and then we'll get into the overs and unders. I promise you. I'm going to start right about here. And it's going to go a little something like this. RB says, name me one actual great head coach who never, and I mean never, developed another coach who was poached for a promotion. Mike's tree is a broken branch in the woods. Tyrone said he's doing good, talking about JPJ. Never giving up a touchdown, guys. Say what you want. Terrell Austin getting a head coaching job next year. Yeah, I don't know about all that. What you mean? He says, RB says, my sophomore year, they wanted me to play corner because wide receiver room was stacked. I had holding issues. Coach Ed Dalton made me hold 2 tennis balls and tape my hands shut for practices. I love these guys that get they come with innovative ideas to make their guys better. RB says Terrell Austin couldn't manage Wendy's. Somber says Aaron Rodgers back in action at Steelers practice on Friday, getting plenty of his passes, and it seems to be catching snaps okay with that injured left wrist as well. That is from Alan Saunders 4 minutes ago. Thank you, Somber. Greatly appreciated for that information. Always certainly helpful and appreciated on the terrible board. Tortilla Jackson says the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to sign Terrell Austin as a head coach. Let's see. Thank you. Just working, talking to the gang. My man Tyrone and Day said, I guess he is playing, and with our defense, it should be a good game. You know what I'm saying? This is a winnable game for us, guys. But it's certainly not a game that it should be the biggest game in our team's mind. It should be. Again, you got to figure out a way to motivate these guys from week to week, and it's they're grown-up millionaires. It's hard to do. It's not an easy thing to do. In an average workplace, it's hard to get 10 guys to be on the same page at the average workplace. So it's a challenge, and that's what takes. That's why you need a good coach and good people around and good coordinators and good system, because again, it's all it's not easy getting 53 millionaires on the same page for on every Sunday afternoon. RB says my biggest issue with Aaron is we need to stop so much of the shotgun and pistol shit and get under center more. Stop changing so many fucking plays and run the ball a little bit more. Then go to play action. They definitely need to do that. If they run often, they run early. They could establish the play action game. I think that goes such a long way against this Bears team. And again, the Bears defense is comparable to Cincinnati when it comes to stopping the run. So that right there tells me that this is they should be doing this. RB, I agree 100%. Run Warren early, run him often, switch it up a little bit, go a little bit at Gainwell. And then hit that play action. But again, I would try to use my bigger guys. I would try to run a lot. I would get Darnell Washington involved. And you're going to, this is the monsters of the Midway. Say what you will. You got to go over there and play a physical game. We have one win there since 1936, guys. One. you got to go over there and punch them in the face. You got to. Otherwise, you come home with another loss from Chicago. The BBL push. Somber. The BBL push. Vegas, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Vegas on the terrible board. He said Troy would have flown over the top of the tush push for sure. Absolutely. Tyrone says, yeah, Aaron playing. Also, Cody says, when you watch the timestamp, you're going to die. End of days. Arthur Smith was offered head coach college jobs. Tyrone says, love my JPJ. Lindsay says, you love Slay now. Don't switch it up. All right, guys, let's get into some overs and unders. Yeah, let's get on it, guys. I need your assistance. I truly need you. I'm going to give you some overs and unders. Give me what you think is going to be the over and under on these particular numbers that I give you. And we'll see how things look. Vegas says, I'll take 6'7", 311 versus any Bears DB. Get Mount Washington the ball. Exactly. I would do it over and over and over until people got bored. Because, listen, you see the size of that guy? Get it in his hands and get it there often. Because, you know, it might not be that pretty highlight play that we've seen over and over from last week, but it's not going to be easy for Chicago. I promise you that. The more you get that guy the ball, the less likely they're going to be looking to be tackling in the fourth quarter. It's going to be cold. They're human beings. Again, attack them, punch them in the mouth, do it early, do it often. I think we could win this football game, guys. Let's get to the overs and unders. Let's get it for sure, Tyrone. All right, first off the bat, let's start with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, 1.5 touchdown passes this weekend. Of course, we know that the Bears' defense is susceptible to the run. We do know that a majority of our offense is by air. They have been, at least, this season. I think with the exception of 3-4 touchdowns, maybe. Guys, 1.5 touchdown passes by Aaron Rodgers. Which way do you think this goes? Tyrone is saying over. He's saying that Aaron's going to have over 1.5 touchdown passes. I think that certainly plays to our advantage if we can. Tortilla is also saying over on the 1.5 passes. Over on TD passing as far as Richard goes as well. Thank you, sir. And Rodgers is playing end of days. If that's official, I'm officially celebrating with you. I do think that I would rather see, of course, Rodgers. I want the experience, guys. I know that there's the youth, and Mason really came out and showed out last week. But again, Aaron Rodgers played very well in Chicago. Will Ramsey get a sack? That's a good question in itself. Lindsay, she's saying over on that as well. Let's get to the next. And RBI will get to your comments shortly. Tight ends. Now I'm talking about one of the 53 tight ends that we got. Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, Meatwad, Connor Hayward, of course. Guys, tight ends, 1.5 touchdowns received. I could see one. I could see maybe, Washington, something early in the game, over the middle maybe. But with all the tight ends and all the power of Pat Freiermuth, 3 touchdowns in 2 games a couple weeks back. Jonnu Smith certainly due to make a play. Little Meatwad, he makes things happen when he gets a chance. Guys, 1.5 touchdowns by tight ends. What do you think, over or under? Tyrone's saying under on that. RB saying under on that as well. So under on the tight ends touchdowns. 1.5 is the number on that, guys. Take another second here. What the fuck? What if we sign another tight end before then? You know what? With this team, it's totally not out of the question. Tortilla is saying over, and Richard is saying over on the tight ends as well. All right, let me move on, guys. Let's go to the next one. Roman Wilson, 1.5 catches. Roman Wilson, 1.5 catches. Sometimes he gets none. Sometimes he gets one. Sometimes he gets one and it's brilliant. Sometimes, a couple times, he got 2. Roman Wilson, 1.5 receptions. Tyrone is giving over on that. Lindsay was over. It's either on the tight ends or this one, but she did say over as well. RB over, and Richard is also saying over on the Roman. Tortilla is saying over on Roman as well. Do we need some of these other guys to step up as again, we had the whole debate about the receiver 2 earlier. Are we going to need another guy to step up with hands on this team in order to win some games in January, or are we going to be able to continue to sputter and limp along like we've been doing? Next on the overs and unders, guys. Chris Boswell, 2.5 field goals made. 2.5 field goals made. Of course, 3 point, not extra points. 2.5 field goals by Chris Boswell, guys. Over or under? What do you think on that? Chris Boswell, 2.5 field goals made. Let me know what you think on the board. Tyrone saying over on that. Over on that. Big day for Boz. Let me grab RB here while let's see. RB says when I said culture hasn't been the same here since Cowers guys and staff went away. That's when Finch applied. I was okay, gotcha. But tell me when Cower or Knoll had teams who multiple times a year, he's saying, and also in his next quote, his comment, he says this. RB says, got beat the shit out of physically, not on the scoreboard, but like actually beat up, thrown around and embarrassed to the point of giving up and looking defeated. Star players on the sideline pouting. All right, guys. Chris Boswell, over or under on the 2.5 field goals made? It looks like we get over by Tortilla, under on the RB. Next one on the list, guys. Let's hop over to the defensive side of the ball. Is the defense going to cause 1.5 turnovers? We're great when we turn the ball over or when we get the turnovers. When we can get turnovers, we are really, really good. We beat the Patriots because of this. We beat, so come on. 1.5 turnovers, guys, forced by our defense. Over or under? What do you think on that? Throw it up on the board. While we're over and over, all right. Tyrone and Cody are both saying over on that. And again, it certainly raises our percentage for a chance to win, I think, if we do make this happen. Turnovers, the more the merrier. Certainly for our Steelers. Tyrone and Cody and Tortilla, over is free. Somber, my man, always great getting your comments. Let's move to this one. This is a Tortilla says I was going to say under, but I got a turnover. I'm going over. All right, he threw the red flag. Under for RB. This one here, guys, I'm going to be interested in what you guys think because this hasn't really been turning out the way we hoped it has. Guys, how about TJ Watt? Phil, put your earmuffs on. TJ Watt, guys, a half sack. Is he going to have a sack? Is he going to push and get a half? Is he going to have more? TJ Watt, a half sack, over, under. You can even push if you want. I would like to see some production for him. And again, with the time that Caleb holds on to the ball being longer than a lot of quarterbacks, I want to see this front seven. They got to take advantage. Linebackers, linemen, they got to get pressure on this team. They got to. Lindsay saying over on that. RB says before you even read it under, before Somber says over. Cody over. Tortilla 4.5 sacks. Is that what he has on the season? 4.5 sacks. I know that Herbig is in the lead with like 5.5. RB Wright is going to eat him alive. You know what? He struggled with every friggin' rookie he faced at tackle this year. I can't imagine he'll struggle. He got to pick it up. He got to. That's way, way too much money to be not getting numbers from him, not be getting production. Let me ask you this. You okay if he doesn't get any numbers all game, but he punches the ball out at the very end to ensure victory? With the money we pay him, I would like a little bit more, but I guess I would be happy with that. We'll take the win as a win as a win. All right, guys, to the next one. I got a couple more. We're going to get ready to wrap things up. Nick Herbig, guys, 1.5 sacks this game. Again, with being said, they take a long time to get the pass out, man. They take a longer than most teams. Caleb does to get the pass out. And then, some of these quarterbacks, once they start moving around back there, some of them are really elusive. And I got to be honest with you, Justin Fields, he had it down in week 1. He was able to escape everything we did. But some of these guys, they move around. They sometimes they run into guys that they're not supposed to. They run into defensemen. 1.5 sacks for the team sack leader, guys. Is it going to be a big game for Nick Herbig? He kind of comes out of nowhere and has these big games all of a sudden, and I love it. And not out of nowhere. I mean, the guy's good. But the question on this one, guys, Nick Herbig, 1.5 sacks. 1.5 sacks. Let's get some of the answers on the board. Vegas says, I'd love to see 2 strip sacks, scoop and scores. I would love it. TJ Swat, Tortilla saying. Cody says if that all-star right tackle for the Bears plays, he might not get one. Tortilla saying over on that. RB says the issue with paying an aging edge is better make sure they have real moves and just don't use speed loops 80% of the time, right? And what was the big game plan of moving him around a little bit? Wasn't that something that, that I think they say 4 plays? They literally moved him out of his spot this year. Sommer says under. I think he has 1 on Herbig. The over and under is 1.5. RB is saying over. TJ will have 3. End of days is saying, boy, he could sure use it, man. He could sure use it. I'm not bad mouthing the guy. I'm just saying, boy, he sure do, huh? Tyrone says under, and Tyrone also says TJ finna crush him. I hope you're right, brother. And then finally, the last one, the one that's most despised on the show, but I got to do it because it's been so relevant over the past couple seasons, 5 years at least. One half of a devastating injury. I had to do it. I'm sorry, guys. I know. One half of a devastating injury for our Steelers. I'm talking about we lose a starter or a long-term injury to any player that's going to put them out for a long period of time. What do you guys think? Over and under a half on a devastating injury for the Steelers this weekend, guys. Let me know what you think. RB is saying under on the injury, and I hope you're right. RB says this will be a Harmon coming out party. And again, I hope you're right on that, dude. Believe me, if that front seven has a good day, we're going to be in good shape. It can't be one of these days where they come out and they run get a 15-yard run against us, and then they do this. And, this defense got to clamp down, man, especially with Caleb. He's going to move. He's going to move around back there. So it's, again, biggest game of the year right now, guys. Tyrone says under on the injury. Tortilla says TJ Watt gets hurt doing his celebration. Vegas says, will anybody be fined for a hit or a spit? I don't know. I don't think there's going to be any Hawk Tuas this week. It was such a big thing last week. It's hard for me to think that any player is stupid enough to do that again, this close to, what happened with Chase and Ramsey last week, of course. Let's hope let's hope that the guys keep the spit in their mouth just for the sake of the sanity, right? Cody says JPJ holding calls over. You know what? I didn't do that, did I? Let's throw that one out there, guys. JPJ holding calls, pass interference or defensive holding. I'm going to go 1.5. Let's keep it low, but, still a couple. What do you think? JPJ interference or holding, defensive holding calls, 1.5. Over or under on that? Richard is saying under on the injuries. End of days is saying if Steelers win Sunday, they're a lock to win the North. And also RB saying Bears tackles are good. Their interior guys are the drizzling shits. I like that. I don't like having that, but I like the fact that they're the drizzling shits. Somber says under on camel sightings. Over RB says, Lindsay says, I have a feeling Jets might upset the Raiders. Boy, would that be great? I'm going to tell you why it's not going to happen. I'll tell you that 1 second. Because I thought the same thing, Lindsay. I thought, man, if them Jets could just upset them, give me a moment to keep caught up on the board. But I'm gonna let you and Tyrone know why that's not going to happen this weekend. JPJ the GOAT. Tyrone says Vegas says Cam Benton Black. My man, I love these guys. I mean, Cam's getting older. I'd like to get a younger body, but for what it is, these guys up front got to get it done. They got to get it done. Let's see, Cody over under on hold. On the holding, Richard is under on that for JPJ, and spitting is a bungle thing. Mark Malone. Here's why they're not going to lose. The Jets suck. They truly, honestly, do suck. They don't have a defense anywhere as good as what Cleveland's is. And I think the fact that the Ravens are good enough to beat the defense of Cleveland and win that football game last week, I don't know if the Jets are good enough to win that football game. I just don't. Their defense is terrible. Are they going to go Fields? They're going to go Tyrod Taylor. I don't know what they're a really bad team. And then they give away so many guys at the trade deadline. You lose Sauce Gardner, one of your best covered guys. They lost the guy on defense of the line. I just don't think the Jets are good enough to beat the Ravens. I think just by default, the Ravens win this football game. And I hope I'm wrong. Lindsay, Tyrone, I hope you guys are right. Oh, believe me, I'll come here and I'll give you air high fives all Victory Monday. I just don't know if the Jets are I don't know if they're good enough to win this football game. And I'm not saying the Ravens are anything great this year. The Jets are just that bad. They just are that bad. But I guess any given Sunday. But I hope you're right. I have a hard time just even imagining in my mind a way that it could play out in that fashion and the Jets win. But boy, would it be nice. If we could get the win against the Chicago Bears and they lose to the Jets, we'll certainly be celebrating Monday. Vegas says I forgot. Harmon RB says over under Danny Smith with 50 pieces of gum. Somber Ravens are going up against their old backup QB. RB says no air handies. Lindsay says they are that. Lindsay, they're so bad. I wish that I could have even imagined. Like I said, it's just the Ravens got so much going on offense. Like I said, they're not great this year. But can you see the Jets stopping Derrick Henry? I could just see it being a long ass afternoon for them. They're just a better team. I think the Ravens get it done. Unfortunately, I want them to lose, and I hope you're right. Believe me, I really do. But it's gonna be a tough day for the Jets. I do believe so, and I hope I'm wrong. Mark Malone says they started busting Fields for a while for F's sake. Also, end of days, it would be nice if the Ravens lose. Lamar is injured again. Absolutely. What about Falcons Saints? Yeah, what if Kirk Cousins playing? Guys, let's do this. Let's start getting ready to wrap things up because it is about that time. But we do have the question of the day. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Coming up just after this, guys. Do go check out our website at www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. Lots of cool stuff over there. There's all kind of information, Mike's dumb thoughts, and also all the contact information for our show and ourselves. Do check out the website at www.the2dumyinzers.com. All right, guys, this is what the question of the day is. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponents? The Chicago Bears this week, guys, it's no different. We're going to do it the same way we always do. I'm going to ask you a trivia question about the Bears, and we're going to see if anybody knows the answer on the board. Let's go ahead, put on our thinking caps, guys. This is the question of the day. Here we go. In 1921, the Bears went by this name before being changed to the Bears in 1922. What were the Bears called in their season and a half existence prior to being the Bears, guys? Anybody? I am looking for the name of the Bears before they changed their name to the Bears. Take a minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. every single day right here on the tube, Monday through Friday, not every single day. Guys, again, in 1921, the Bears went by this name before being changed to the Chicago Bears in 1922. Any guesses? Throw it up on the board, guys. I'm looking for the name that they originally went by in Chicago for their football team before being changed to the Bears in 1922. Of course, one of the older franchises in the league, the Chicago Bears. Tortilla is saying the Chicago Mustangs. RP is saying the Stanies. Vegas is saying the Chicago deep dish pizzas. These are getting good. Staley's. Redbirds. Richard says the Redbirds. Tyrone says I have no idea. F the Bears. Again, what were the Bears called before they were the Bears? Is the question of the day. Somber said I just looked it up. Yeah, I would have never guessed that in a million years. They technically had two. I mean, they started out in 1920 with a name, and then they went to the second name for 1 year. And technically, I guess that's what I'm asking, is what they were before they turned to the Bears. Throw any more guesses up on the board. RB says they were a meatpacking plant. The Italian Mafia. Let's see. I'm just double checking something for myself. Just bear with me for a moment. Because I don't want to screw yins out on this. I do know that it does kind of have a you'll see what I'm saying. Chicago meatballs. Okay, so guys, this is what I'm going to do. Either one of the first two names are acceptable because they had an original name in 1920, and then they went to this name that I was looking for in 21, and then it got changed to the Bears. So, guys, I do want to say somebody did get it correct. It was, and the reason that I did do this is because he did get it correct, but RB did say the Staleys. And initially in 1920, the team was, or 21, they were called the Decatur Staleys. And then in 1921, they were changed to this name prior to becoming the Bears, guys. And if you guessed the Chicago Cubs, you would be correct. The Chicago Cubs were the team that I was looking for, but RB, your answer is acceptable. I apologize for that mix-up. The Bears originally back in 1920, the Decatur Staleys. 21, they became the Cubs. In 22, they became the Chicago Bears. And the reasoning they became the Chicago Bears, guys, just as interesting, I think. The owner said this, because at the time you think that the Cubs were baseball, the Cubs are football. The reason they changed to the Bears, because the owner says, well, football players are just bigger than baseball players. So there you go. Just interesting. They were both the Cubs, the baseball and football team, and they changed to the Bears because football players are just bigger. So that's the reason you have the Chicago Bears nowadays. So there you go, guys. Do what you want with that. But great job, everybody. Let me double check here. Lindsay says she was just being smart. I'm looking back what she says. You know what? Yeah, no, you were 100% right. Lindsay, you nailed it. Nailed it. Decatur Staleys and Chicago Staleys, Cubs, Bears. But again, because they were just bigger than baseball players is why it got changed to the Bears. I thought that was interesting, guys. I do want to say a few things before we do get ready to wrap the show up for today. If you haven't had a chance, go swing by, check out any of our social media pages, guys. We are all over the place on the internet. Stop by, hit the like button, hit the follow button for Facebook, on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. Stop by and hit the follow button and keep up with what the two Dum Yinzers are doing on a day-to-day basis. Also, guys, if you haven't had a chance yet, hit the like button down below, the sub if you haven't, the share, or even leave a comment if you like. It would help in the algorithm, and we'd greatly appreciate it. And finally, guys, getting ready for the big game this weekend. I know that there's a few big games going down this weekend because I'm going to talk about them here shortly for Pittsburgh. But anything that you do decide to do, make sure you stop by and get yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner beer. It's great for football weekends, and the guys at Duquesne Pilsner certainly don't hesitate to include us in their promotions, and it's greatly appreciated by us. And I do want to say thank you to them. So stop by, get yourself some beer, the Duquesne Pilsner, or even go by any of their social media pages and just hit the like or follow. Show them some love. I'm sure they'll appreciate it as well. And and a couple other things, though, before I do grab the rest of these messages. Also, guys, if you are here in Pittsburgh, this information will be of importance to you or relevance if you do love your sports here. Our Pittsburgh Penguins are back in action today at 7 o'clock. They'll be hosting the Minnesota Wild after having the week off from being in Stockholm, Sweden last week, playing the 1-1 with Nashville. And then tomorrow they'll be right back at it as the Seattle Kraken comes to town for a game against the Penguins tomorrow. Our other football team, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, of course, soccer. These guys heading to the USL final game. Once again, guys, they are en route right now to go play FC Tulsa tomorrow at noon as the Pittsburgh Riverhounds try to wrap up the USL final, guys. More football in the area. The Pitt Panthers, after taking that big loss to Notre Dame last week, they are traveling to play number 16 Georgia Tech. That game is tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And the Penn State football team, guys, they'll be hosting Nebraska tomorrow. That's also at 7. High school football. The Aliquippa Quips, right here in our county, the only team left in this run. They will be playing their semifinal state game tomorrow. I think it's a quarterfinal. I'm sorry, and that game is against Oil City, and will be at Slippery Rock College tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Root for Aliquippa. And I think they have one more after this, and then they will go to the state championship games. But Aliquippa, did they win? They won the WPIAL championship game last week against number 1 McKeesport, shutting down one of the top running backs in the country. So keep rooting for Quip as they try to get that state championship and bring it back. And then also there are other WPIAL teams involved. So this high school football season is coming to an end, but not without Aliquippa making that one last run. So let's go Quips. That game is tonight again at 7 o'clock at Slippery Rock. What else? Anything else? Anybody else got anything? Any questions? Let me talk about this real quick, and then we are going to bounce. I do believe. How many yards A-Rod having, Ryan? I think that A-Rod has. I think in his 200s. he's roughly been getting, low 200s in games, and it just all depends the pace of this game. And 225. I mean, that's kind of been where he's been around, and it's not great. But again, at the end of the day, he's finding ways to get the ball in the end zone, in the red zone. So it's going to be an average day, but I think like I said, I think we win this one. It's going to be close. My pick again was 24-23 Steelers. RB says the original team was composed of employees of a meatpacking plant. Vegas says the football was a Christmas ham. Cody says check out the timestamp 5:03:50. I'm definitely going to check out. I got it written down here in my notes. Tyrone says Tomlin said A-Rod is questionable. Johnny says good job, Lindsay. I do want to say welcome to Johnny on the board as well. Fearless Still says cheers, Watt fans. Remember what Vanilla said? It's just another game. Tyrone says like and subscribe to Talking Trash with the Steeler Gang. Lindsay says Tyrone and Cody, are you going to Noah's? RB says Tomlin says Rodgers questionable. All right, we got two people saying that Rodgers is questionable, guys. Lindsay, and I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. It comes down to those two things: is his doctor going to clear him, and is he going to feel that he could protect his hand? And we established that early on. And again, I don't know if it's changed. I think he was questionable, but it's good to get the most updated information out. Lindsay, buy some Duke is what Cody is saying. I agree, Lindsay. Especially being here in the area, no reason not to, right? Let's see what else. Tomlin, where'd he go? All right. Probably Cody, RB. Yeah, then everyone else says he will play if he wants to. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. Duquesne Pilsner. Lindsay, RB, like he's tricking someone, right? Cody, the beer Ryan's talking about. Cody, you can only buy it in Pittsburgh. It is expanding. Like I said, it went away. It was a different company, and then it came back, and they are now expanding back out. So hopefully it'll be out your way pretty soon, guys. Cody, Tyrone also says he will play. Tomlin likes playing mind games. Yeah, he does. Lindsay says, I don't drink beer. LOL. I'll tell people, yeah, man, let everybody know. And finally, RB says this, Mikey's actually tricking somebody. The game plan won't change. It will be don't turn the ball over and then let them beat themselves like every week. Johnny, hello. Glad to be here. Glad to have you, my man. Always great to see new people on the board. Great to see you, sir. Tortilla, if Doc don't clear Rodgers, it's an inside job. Christophus Rodgers is going to play. We have to support him. Cody, you don't drink beer. We were Pittsburgh fans. We were alcoholics. Guys, I thought you were amazing today. And again, I think the game ball goes to the board in its entirety. On this Steeler Friday, getting ready to head into this Week 12 matchup with the Bears, guys. Game ball to the Steelers. Game ball to the terrible board. I'm sorry. As we get ready for the Steeler game. And Lindsay's saying she likes that tequila, man. So, guys, also what I do want to say is thank you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do without you guys. Thank you so much. You are the lifeblood of the show. I do want to say thank you, everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here. And I do want to say if you're at home, in the car, in the gym, maybe you're at work with your earbuds or your headband or your earphones, earpods, buds, whatever it may be, and you're listening to this show, thank you too. We will be back, of course, Monday at our normal time to do it all over again, to get into what the hell went down on this Sunday. Albeit if it's good, it's bad, whatever it is, we're going to be at it back on Monday morning, trying to figure out what it is we got to do next to make this push for the playoffs this year. So let's bring home a win this weekend, guys. This is a big one. Again, as I said, the biggest game of the year as of right now. Let me grab a couple more. Tortilla, have a great weekend, Yinzers. Let's get this dub. For sure, my man. A lot of things on the board. Thank you, Lindsay. Greatly appreciated as well. Tyrone, we love you. My man, I love all you guys too. Go Steelers, my dog. We might be live tonight if you want to slide through. You know what? Unfortunately, I'll be at the radio. We got high school football work at the radio station tonight, so I'm probably not going to be around too much tonight. However, I will keep an eye on you guys throughout the weekend. I love watching you guys. Guys, thank you so much again. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. CBS Pick'ems, don't forget to get them picks in, guys. You don't want to miss out on any games as the games continue on Sunday. As like I said, if you're joining late, just go right outside on the main YouTube page here for the two Dum Yinzers. Hit that link. It's the blue link. It's a CBS Sports Picks. Hit that. It takes 30 seconds to sign up. Costs absolutely nothing. Get involved and make your picks as well. We'll see how it turns out, and then certainly we'll do that next week when we come back after all the games are played. Again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope everybody has a great, safe weekend. Get your terrible towels ready. Get your jerseys ready. Get ready for Sunday afternoon. We have to bring this team a victory so we can come back home, get ready for this Buffalo game. But we're not going to think about that now. We're going to think about them Bears. the Bears, getting ready for them and winning. So everybody have a safe weekend, behave. And again, we'll be back Monday to do it all again. We hope to see everybody then. For myself, the two Dum Yinzers guys, have a great weekend. Here we go, Steelers. Let's get it done. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.